If you're planning to visit one of the 50 nations in Europe this year, there are some things you should know. Whether this is your first time visiting the continent or your 500th time, things have changed. There are more options for travelers who have only $400 in their budget, as well as greater access for luxury lovers as well. So let's talk about how to easily and successfully plan the European vacation of your dreams. No matter your budget or style, these tips are going to help improve your overall experience so that you return home with memories you'll cherish forever. Tip number one is to be honest with yourself. What type of traveler are you? What do you need from this trip to consider it a success and to be happy? Is it great food, luxury accommodations, a combination of the two? Or maybe just getting out of the country, meeting new people, taking in a new culture? That's what you need to be happy on this trip. Once you know what your priorities are, you'll know how to spend your money. And don't worry, maybe you don't know what type of traveler you are. I made a free 19-page travel essentials guide, and inside is this fun quiz titled, "What type of traveler are you?" So click on the link here or in the description box below. Get that free 19-page travel essentials guide, take the quiz, and you're good to go. Tip number two is to know your money. Look at how much money you have now before even deciding where you'll go. And I say look at what you have now because I don't believe in saving in excess or definitely not going into debt for travel. The goal is to be less stressed by your vacation, not more anxious. So look at what you have now as far as funds go. If you're low on cash, then choose a more affordable country and remember to travel during off-peak seasons for the best price as far as accommodations are concerned and for fewer crowds. That's late fall, winter, and early spring. Traveling during those months I actually prefer because there are fewer tourists no matter where you're going. Decide what you honestly could pay for these 5 categories today. First, your flight. Second, accommodations. Third, food. Fourth, excursions. And lastly, transportation once you get there. I always start with these 5 categories when planning the budget of any trip. I always love practical examples, so let me give you one. I would travel, as I've said before, with hardly any money in my pocket. Maybe going to Europe with nothing but $400. Listen, I would do that today. If I only have $400 to spend, I might still choose a long weekend in a country that I find safe and affordable. For me, I prefer the Iberian Peninsula, so I would say Portugal or Spain, probably Portugal, because I know my money will really stretch there. Looking for an affordable destination but unsure where to start? I recommend visiting priceoftravel.com/Europe-backpacker-index. They have a great list here of 54 European cities by price. It's really made for backpackers, but if you're not traveling as a backpacker, this may still be a useful list for you. So how would I plan out a $400 budget in Portugal? Let me break it down. If I'm traveling to Portugal with $400, I obviously can't afford a flight. So I'm going to pay for my flight ticket with credit card points. If you want tips on how to quickly earn enough points for a flight outside of the country, watch my video on travel hacking. I'll link it below. Accommodations. What a lot of people do to save money is stay in a hostel or rent out one room in an Airbnb. This can be cool because especially with an Airbnb, it gives you access to a local. They can give you tips. You can ask them questions. With a hostel, you get a community of travelers. And if you trust them a little bit, that can also be an added safety bonus. What I would do, honestly, is try to split an Airbnb with a friend. But we all know how fickle friends can be when it comes to travel. So my next option, and probably the better one, is to take my credit card points again and book a Hyatt hotel. World of Hyatt is a loyalty program that a lot of travel hackers use because usually your credit card points go farther at a Hyatt hotel. Don't worry if you don't have credit card points, this video is for everyone, but I am going to touch on this a little bit because it is a major money saver. For example, in Paris at the Park Hyatt Paris Vendôme, nights are $5,000 each. One night, $5,000. But if you have points, it only costs 45,000 points. I can earn that in 2 months. Unsure of where to start when searching for your hotel? I like to use Hotels.com, ranking hotels by star category, and then finding the best hotel within my budget. Know too that some cities have their own way of ranking their hotels. For example, the best hotels in Paris may not be 5-star because they're considered palace destination hotels. So check that out before visiting any city, and you're sure to find accommodations you're comfortable with. With my credit card points, and my $400 budget to Portugal, I've managed not to pay for my flight or hotel. If you don't have credit card points, you may have to increase your budget and save up just a little bit more for a great flight during off-peak hours. The hotels will also be cheaper in fall, winter, and spring. Now, what do I do about my food, transportation, and excursions? I know that I personally can get by with $30 a day for food. And think about how much money you spend on food at home. Go grocery shopping just like you do at home. Make a local dish using groceries you buy at the grocery store, at the local market. Sometimes I'll skip breakfast knowing that I want to spend that $30 on a good dinner or a great lunch. It's just temporary. Don't worry, you're not trying to live on Cliff Bars for the rest of your life, just a few days, so that you don't have to sleep in an alley, or so that you don't have to sleep at the airport, which I've definitely done. Yes, I've slept in an airport to save money. I'm serious about travel, okay? Also, some cities are known for their amazing street food. If you feel a little sketch about street food, you don't really trust it, fried food, go with it. It kills a lot of germs in that grease. This all goes back to tip number 1, knowing what type of traveler you are. If you are like horrified to hear me say $30 a day for food, then maybe food is your top priority and this is not where you can save money. Maybe you're not interested in saving money. Maybe you got it like that. I get it. That's cool too. Maybe you've booked a reservation at a Michelin restaurant. That's great. So with a budget of $30 a day for food, I've taken out about $100 from my $400 budget. For transportation, I can't really Uber, right? That's kind of an expense, a luxury. But fortunately, the public transportation in a lot of European nations is excellent. Since my example is in Portugal, I'm really fortunate because it's clean, it's safe, it's reliable. So I'm gonna get a 24-hour pass. Maybe I'll grab 3 of them, and that'll end up costing me about $30 total. Some cities offer special cards that get you discounts on public transportation and even excursions like museum visits. In Lisbon, for example, that's the Lisboa card. That will give me a discount on my travel and also on, again, museums and cultural excursions. The idea is the city wants you to take in their culture, so they're going to give you a little discount as a tourist. So now I have $270 left and I need to book excursions. If I'm in a city and I'm planning to visit a Michelin star restaurant, I don't take that money from my food budget. I take that from my excursion budget because it's over and beyond. It's more than I usually would pay. It's an experience. It's not just a necessity. So personally, I would take this $270 and I would use $70 for one really nice meal. And if you're thinking $70 is not enough, ho, it is. To give you an example, I was in Portugal a few months ago, as I stated in last week's video, and my favorite seafood restaurant, actually anywhere in the world, is Ramiro, and that's in Lisbon. I went there with a group of friends. We had lobster, crabs, 2 bottles of wine, a whole bunch of stuff. And we ended up paying $66 per person, and that included the tip. So yeah, $70 for one person can get you a really good meal. I'm gonna take that in our example from my excursion budget. Also, sometimes things happen and the night lasts a little longer than you expected. And especially as a woman, you might not feel safe taking the train home. Maybe you don't know the neighborhood that well. Maybe it's perfectly fine where you are, but why take the chance? From my excursion budget, I also might splurge on an Uber one night. One night, just once. Likely though, what I would do with this money is book an Airbnb experience. That's my favorite way to find excursions. This might be a cooking class in someone's home. It might be a boat tour. Like recently I went dolphin and whale watching off the coast of Africa with Airbnb experiences. It's so easy to book, just like it's easy to book an Airbnb. It's even easier to book an Airbnb experience. I highly recommend them. Locals give you a little inside peek into their daily lives, into what the city, the location is really like. I mean, it cannot be beat. It was, to me, Airbnb experiences is better than Airbnb for accommodations. Tip number 3, plan your itinerary in advance. I know some people like to travel by the seat of their pants, and I get it. It's exciting. They want to go with the flow, and that's cool. But if your goal is to budget properly, then you should know where you're going. Planning out your itinerary months or weeks in advance is a great way to save money. Research the attractions you want to visit and look for discounts or deals. Also, consider visiting cities close to each other to save on transportation costs. Continuing my $400 weekend example, if you've been to Lisbon a million times and you're visiting again, Coimbra is a great day trip option. It's about 2 hours away and trains run hourly. My favorite website for finding out how to travel all over the world is RoamToRio.com. Just type in where you want to go and it'll show you the best way to get there, what trains you have to take, if a cab will be involved. You can also use Google, of course, but I prefer Rome to Rio for this purpose. Also, when booking trains, remember that high-speed trains save you time, but regional trains will save you money. Now, a responsible person will tell you to save money in your budget for unexpected expenses. So I guess I'll tell you that too. It always helps to have a little cushion there because you never know what tomorrow may bring. But sometimes things just happen. I'll give you an example. I was traveling to Sweden for work once and I got stuck in Germany. Don't ask. I actually decided to see some friends in Italy first before making the meeting in Sweden. I missed my flight, chatting up my friends, and had to take a flight that included a layover in Germany, and for some reason my credit cards weren't working. This is actually during a time when we actually had to call our credit card company to let them know we'd be out of the country so that our credit cards wouldn't just stop working on us. Usually you don't have to do that now. It is always good to check, but usually most cards will be like, nah, go ahead, we trust you, whatever. So anyway, I was in Germany with no way to get a ticket to Sweden where the meeting was, and my boss was not the happiest. I also didn't know that toll-free numbers can only be accessed domestically. So I'm trying to call the toll-free number to tell my credit card, hey, reactivate this, I gotta go. I called my parents and my dad was like, this is a good lesson for you, and hung up on me. Honestly, it sounds harsh, but I was just irresponsible. So, and my life wasn't in danger. It was a good lesson. So I say that to say, sometimes things happen. Sure, all of that I mentioned was avoidable, but not for me. It was not avoidable for me because I was irresponsible. So maybe you too are irresponsible. That doesn't mean you shouldn't experience the joy of travel. There's a lot of irresponsible people traveling. Some final things to consider. Number 1, do not buy a SIM card at the airport because it'll be more expensive. Try to get to the town you're visiting first and visit like the little mobile store, or even local markets might even have a SIM card. And if you don't know, a SIM card is a card you pop into your phone so that you can use your data locally and you're not charged exorbitant rates by your telephone company. Verizon or whoever you got. So I recommend not getting your SIM card at the airport because it's cheaper to get it in town. Another tip is consider visiting Eastern Europe. On average, Eastern Europe is a lot more affordable than Western Europe. Consider Croatia. It's like the Tulum of Europe right now, everybody going. These are my tips for successfully budgeting your next European vacation. Be sure to share them with a friend. Remember that planning and budgeting are crucial to avoid overspending, but traveling for free is the best. If you want to know how to fly for free and book luxury hotels gratis, watch my video here. Watch it!